When I first moved over to Trenton, I found that I'd heard that there was a war hero there. And I'd heard many of my father's and uncle's stories about World War II, and so I ran into him downtown one day and asked him if he'd tell his story, and he said, "No, thank you." And so, sometime later, months later, I was out working south at Trenton on a farm for the day, just day labor, $1 an hour. I worked 9 hours that day, got $9, and thought I had a bucket of money. And he happened to be there. Wasn't his farm, but he was there, and saw that I put in a good day's labor. We had small talk throughout the day. At the end of the day, he said, "You want that story?" And I said, "Yeah, I would like it if you don't mind." And he said, "Okay." He said in World War II he got drafted. He didn't want to go. And he said Europe had already been invaded by the time he got over there. And he said we just punched through the hedgerows. And so they was going through France pretty quickly by that time. But he said they came up, he had a couple of firefights, nighttime firefights with the Germans, but he said they really didn't see much other than shooting at flashes of light. He said then they came up on a good-sized village, and so they took the new man, that would be him, put him out front for the point. Basically sniper target, you know, and because they didn't want their buddies to get killed. Well, he said he took his rifle, put the bayonet on the end of it, a knife on the end of it, and he was running down, zigzagging, trying to give the snipers a little bit of hard time getting him. And he said nobody shot at him, and he said he ran up to one edge of a building, big, tall building, and he said he was going to run around it, and as he got to the edge of it, the corner, he said, "Here come a German running around the same time." And he said their eyes was looking more for snipers, both of them, and so they wasn't watching where they was running. And he said they literally ran into each other. He said his bayonet stabbed the German, and the German stabbed him. He said neither one was stabbed bad enough to have killed them, but they was bloodied up pretty good in their bellies. And he said it scared him so bad he dropped his rifle. And he said the German dropped his rifle. And he said the German couldn't have been over 16 years old, and he took off and was running for his life. And he said, and I did the same thing. I turned and I ran. And he said, with blood in my hands and running bent over with a bayonet wound in my belly. He said he ran out of that town as fast as he could. And he said there was most of 130 American soldiers that was moving in behind him. And he said they saw me run and figured that kid might have a reason for it. And so they backed out for the day. Well, they sent in a couple of spotters, and darn if they didn't see or find out that there was about a half a dozen machine guns, German machine guns that was crisscrossed, that would have cut them to pieces or killed a good share of them if they'd have moved in there much closer. So they made him a hero. And he said, I was anything but a hero that day. And they gave me that medal. Not counting the Purple Heart. Anyway, that was his story. This is McCook's Mr. Bill. Rate this film.